Quick greetings, and thank you for stopping in to watch another video. In this video, I'm hoping the ancestors are present. Um, I just would like to point out some things from the last video, and I think there's a lot of things in the last video that need to be talked about. But what I want, what called me to the video today was profound enough, that it pushed me to begin the process. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen, and I want to show that yes, we're revisiting this Washita Moors article that I think it speaks volumes to how we need to move, what we need to be aware of. For instance, if I could give an example, if these Washita Moors have a seat at the United Nations and this is the best they have done, which is nothing that I see or anything that the world has seen, right? When the Pope denounced the doctrine of discovery, what did these Washita Moors, where were they? Where were they to catch that? So here you are, I guess the reigning light of glory for all black, quote unquote, black Indians. And you're dropping the ball, you're missing the mark. Where are you? I don't see you. And please don't pop up with bullshit, okay? I'm sorry. Sometimes you call a devil, and then it comes, and you say, "That's my bad. That's my bad." And I'm not. If you come correct. If you show up in the comments or whatever, come correct. But I think it really goes to what I said before. When you mix too much with your colonizer, you don't know where you end and the colonizer begins. But it really does seem like it's all about the colonizer. But we're not going to go into all of that right now. What we're going to focus on today is some, you see for yourself, okay? So let's go down. This is the article. Once again, okay? So we'll just read. I'm not going deep into it because it's a really the BS starts happening pretty early on, and I feel like we missed it. But anyway, let's do we want to read all of that again? Well, if this might be a quick version, so let's see if we could read this. The Amaru Washita de Dugdamundia Moors. I think I was still mispronouncing it in the last video. The Dugdamundia Moors were originally a group of priests, and I still want to highlight that. I still actually want to highlight that. Priest from the Egypt of the West, old Egypt in America. Okay. So I think we always want to keep in mind that it's a priesthood that's the driving force. And once again, they're taking a lot of authority, right? Sort of like how the Moors do when they speak of Europeans and Mongolians and East Asians. These Moors are the reason why there are these different races according to what they tell us. So once again, they're taking a load of authority, and we still want to blame other races that are not, quote unquote, black for these troubles. Okay, so the Amaru Washita de Dugdamundia Moors were originally a group of priests from the Egypt in America. Let's just cut to the chase. When they say the West, they're talking about America, okay? Those who still reject this as the truth of the matter, it's to your own confusion, because you need this to make all of this make sense. You really need this part, okay? Although you hate it and it's not you and all of that. It is what it is. So also known as the Dogon. So right there, we make a quantum leap from Egypt in the West, which is America, known back then as Tamary, and we're jumping now to Africa, to the Dogon. So already we have a problem, right? Already they're mixing apples and oranges again, right? So, but then I think we should also remember they're lumping the Olmecs and the Mayans in along with them. So these are all of these priests, okay? Everything they claim, they know to be theirs, right? The Indian is the only thing that they can't claim, and that's why you're marked for elimination. You're marked for genocide. Now, they will talk about the Dogon and the Olmecs and the Mayas and all of that, but your black ass is right here, and and they still pulling you into some outside of this landmass thing. They were the ones that went outside, not you Indians, the ones who are reclassified. So the term Washita is a corruption of Ursatar, okay? We kind of went in with the and I still think that it has a great significance to what the that they speak of in their scripture. These are priests. So when they talk about you might want to revisit their scriptures, because these are priests, okay? So they had their hands on the Bible, the same priesthood, right? They wanted to be the only priesthood, and so they produced our Bible. Now, I want to add a little more context to this. When we read in Yaqub, Father of Mankind, what the priesthood let us know is that they are like a secret society. They made it abundantly clear that at any given time, there's only 12 men of the priesthood that actually, how did they put it? They know the secrets of quote unquote God, I believe is what they were talking about. Only 12 men. So the knowledge that they have, that they keep only among 12 men and some I don't even know if the scientists, because they keep scientists with them as well. Now, my take is that the reason why the priesthood speaks so much about scientists, because these would be the men who help them to start to manipulate genetics to bring forth new races. So the priesthood, their nearest and dearest companions, are another group of men known as scientists. Now, that kind of speaks to why they like to call it chem, chemist. So chem was another word they like to toy with, but that's the African, the ones who I guess were working from Africa. But they started, introducing a lot of, African wording, to this thing. But we're talking about a group of men who are exclusive. They pretty much got rid of all the other priesthoods. Now, when Akhenaten shut down all the other temples, that would be a picture of one priesthood taking domination over all the others. They shut them down, okay? And so the only temples that the people could go to, the ancestors of the Indians, the only temples you were allowed to go to at one point were only Akhenatens. Okay, I don't know if this is. I'm thinking this is before he got expelled. I guess he had to piss the people off enough for them to want to get rid of that ass, okay? So he shut down your temples, and he wanted you to worship something that him and the priesthood cooked up called Aten, but that's a storefront for Amen, if you ask me. At the time, that would have been a storefront for Amen. You know, they say you could change a few words, but it's still the same basic word, Aten, Amen, Amun, Amun, all the same. Okay? Okay. So these are priests. And I think we must never forget that. This group of Indians, the reason why they are see themselves as so noteworthy and as if they're the major Indians that they have the UN who's they have the UN calling them the oldest. Now, why would this tribe, Washita, and the others linked with them of the 5 civilized tribes, why would they call themselves the oldest? Is because the priesthood that they're attached to, it's an ancient priesthood, okay? They passed down their knowledge to at least 12 men, only the offspring of the priest. And it's never more than 12, according to Yaqub, Father of Mankind. Where that book, they're telling you a lot about the priesthood, a lot. So now we find out that this is a group of priests. So what makes them significant is really they're setting the whole entire spiritual footing that pretty much all of us are standing on. I mean, all of us. This is where it's coming from. That's why they seem to fancy themselves as they're the oldest. The UN has claimed them the oldest thing. And I just find that amazing. But I realize it's not so much, because it's really the priesthood that we're talking about. And that's why we have to remember that this was a group of priests. They would go back further. At least their shall we say, their knowledge, that's what we'll say. They are the most, and that's why they can claim to be they have the oldest knowledge. Now, they are the custodians, right? But they're not making it abundantly clear to those they have deemed Black what is going on. I think they're holding a lot of secrets, not just against Blacks, because they have to convince all people that look like skin folk that we're all one. That's part of their mission, I would say. Okay, so I just want to I'm running my mouth, but I want you to be clear. They're telling us that they're priests. Not Haru's not saying that. Haru's just going in to make sure you get that. Because I always talk about the priesthood. And I think I found my smoking gun, y'all. This is it. This is it. They tell on themselves, right? So, but we just have to read with our common sense that the ancestors are, I believe the ancestors are like just multiplying, our abilities these days. I think, I even think we have higher manifesting abilities. It's really the perfect time to go for our birthright, but you have to know it in your heart. I realize, what's the point if you don't know it in your heart? It has to be in your bones, and it is. We just have to trust it. We have to know it. Now, if you are related to people that would claim these tribes, well, you have a decision to make. I would say even in the priest's holy book that they call the Bible, they have given us instances where people have gone against, shall we say, the the wickedness of even their own bloodline. They've gone against it. You just because you're blood with Indians that have betrayed most Indians, it doesn't mean you have to agree with what they have done. Really, it doesn't. And you will be rewarded for that. So much of this, a lot of it is about blood, but really a lot of it is about the heart. No matter what blood is in your heart, where's your heart? How does your heart feel about this? If you find out that your ancestors were hella ratchet and wrong, do you just side with them because they're your ancestors, or do you take a stand and say, you know what, enough is enough? They fucked over everybody, really. When you misplace one people, you misplace everyone. But these priests felt that as long as they have us believing that they represent some unseen deity, some hidden one set, then they just can do whatever the hell they want, right? All right, so I done talk. It's only been 15 minutes. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you for catching me. You know, I'm going to just start going off and forget even why I started this video, okay? So we talked about the priest talking about old you know, where they say, they even call it here the mother of mystics. That's consistent with what they put in their book, the Bible, you know. So that's consistent because we're just going to take the first part of this. That's where they're the representative of them is a character they call Abraham, right? So they're using Abraham to tell us basically about themselves, right? So they get put out to you know, they're in shall we say this might be before they got put out, but let's just say they know that where they are, there's a lot of mysticism going on because they are basically corrupting the original stories, right? So they out in mystic world, right? The term Washita is a corruption of so they were people of Shita. They are the father and mother of mystics, the Washita. This is what they're saying. This is what they're saying. Don't get upset because I'm reading what you said. Washita, Urshita. Okay, you done told us the truth. That's in your favor now. But the interpretation, that's something else now. That you don't own that now. Okay, so I'm shocked because they're telling us about and was known to be very what they call heathenistic, right? But that's where you were. That's where you live. You were fine with that. You just needed a reason, an excuse to come back to Egypt, right? So you say it was just too much where you were. So you sent yourself through Abraham back to Egypt, and you're going to try to infiltrate. What you're really going to do, end up doing, is bringing mysticism to them. That's what you're doing, because if we go with their character, you know, and what their intentions was, this has nothing to do with Jewish people. I'm talking about a very high ranking priesthood that have written these stories and going in with their motives, not the Jewish people's motive. Okay, just like this ain't the Indians' motives. It's just a group of priests, right, from Egypt, but they changed us from that. I believe that they're the ones that got us away from, even though they got the Indians away from the ancient Tamary. That's why we ended up kind of having, you know, turtle stories. None of that was in ancient Tamary. So the priesthood are supplying most people with all kinds of corruptions of what they knew formerly, and they're staying away from that. They're staying away from the ancient Tamarian stories because it would tell us about them. Okay. So in Egyptian or Tamary, because the oldest landmasses in America, so they are talking about the Egypt called Tamary, which it was Tamary in the West. Okay. They just said that, right? So they're not talking about Africa. Okay. They're talking about America. So in America, we shall say, Ursatar is Urashet, the winged sun disk, which symbolizes the highest knowledge, the pineal gland being open. And we talked a little bit about this too. I made a mistake. I think I kept saying that Enlil is in the sun disk. I thought about it and I realized it would have to be Anu. I apologize. Enlil is the heir according to the Sumerian. This is not Sumerian. This is Sumerian, not Tamarian. Okay. So in their story, Anu would be almost like Ra in our story. That's why he's in a sun disk. Well, the bearded man. I'm gonna go ahead and say that might be Anu. It could be both at different times, Anu, or it could be Enlil. But Enlil would be his son. Enlil would be the son of Anu, if I'm recalling this correctly. So when I said it was Enlil that traveled in the winged sun disk, I want to say that it may have more likely been Anu that you see in that sun disk. I believe. Could be both at different times, like I said. But Anu was a bit higher than Enlil because he was the father. He was the father of Enlil and Enki. Okay. Okay, so it symbolizes the highest knowledge. And they did hold a little pine cone, these Sumerian deities. Now, these Sumerian deities, once again, the Sumerians are younger than the Tamarians. The ancestors of the Indians were Tamarians, not Sumerians, because you got to go with what came first. Okay. Now, Sumeria, I believe, from the way they're telling us and the way where they are situated, I think they're telling us that they were the Asians. These were the Asiatic black men that were byproducts of the Moors and their scientists and their priests. They are trying to create, and I will give the Book of Enki credit. It was always about slaves, y'all. So that the Book of Enki, the whole thing is about them trying to make slaves, y'all. And that is exactly fitting for a priesthood. The priesthood, why do they need slaves? Why do they need a world of slaves? Why does a priesthood need a world of priests? Don't work, right? They just make up stories, right? They sit around, probably form think tanks. Look at me getting my West Indian on think tanks. They form these think tanks. The think tanks, not the think tanks, the think tanks. Okay? It slip out every now and then, people. Sorry about that. So priests need to get paid, yo. They ain't trying to work. They ain't trying to work. So they create a corporation where it looks like you're not a slave. A corporation is a slave-making entity. Any Indian who thinks their salvation lies in creating a fucking corporation, boo-boo, you're furthering slavery, okay? Now, you might say you're going to be a good slave master. Do we want you as a slave master when you're using the vehicle that comes from Europe? No. No, we don't need it. The whole thing is owned by them. I don't know if people realize it's something that they own. So I try to give example again, but when somebody creates something, and you start working it, you're a franchise, but they own the entity. So you always going to be a little offshoot of it's not your own thing. This is what Indians don't seem to understand about the corporation. What you don't seem to understand is you did not create it. It's a foreign entity. You need to start renaming shit and getting it out of the dominion or the domain, whatever you want to call it, the jurisdiction of Europe. Do you understand that you need to cut everything? Cut off everything that was brought here by your slave master. You can rename it. Now, I would advise that and change it. When you rename it, you have to change some. I'm sorry, I'm going to amend that to say, no, let's not just change the name. Naming is powerful, but you're going to have to change some of the structure as well. Now, we know what are the reasons why a corporation is a slave plantation. Whatever those reasons are, that's what has to be changed. This thing where the CEO gets all the money and all of that, and he gets all, no. The reason why epic corporations like Amazon, McDonald's, you know, the biggies, the big, the reason why they fail, and I'm going to tell you, we will all agree to this if we got any sense, is because they don't share the profits with the lower level work. Now, they come up with some kind of hierarchy, right? That's another thing, this hierarchy. You know, it's almost like a caste system. If you are about lifting up your people, you don't stand there and say, well, you started out in the mailroom, so I don't have to honor your status. That's not how you care about your people. See, that's another reason why something foreign, it really is not going to work, because if anything, they're going to up their people, like most corporations. What is a common look for a CEO? What is a common race for a CEO? What are they going to? Everybody, the big dogs, they tend to have a certain skin tone, right? So again, you don't want that corporate model as it is. First of all, you're going to rename it. It's not going to be called a corporation anymore. Sorry. We don't want to deal with, we're living, right? We're living, right? There's no reason why we need dead entities unless we intend to genocide something or the other. Keep it living, y'all. Keep it living. When you die, okay, maybe you can create a corporation then, because you're going to be dead, right? So you create a dead thing creates a dead thing. A living thing, you're going to have to do something else, something different. The reason why the corporation is it's a dead entity because it's recreating people. It's men and women, I should say. It's recreating men and women into people, actually, or persons, or blacks or whites, whatever, right? So it's a dead entity because it's actually killing off the man and woman and recreating them as entities that are not the man or the woman, but straw men of the man or the woman, right? So Indians will require a living entity. When you're doing trade, you're very much alive. Like I said, you have to be active in trade. You have to be producing something to trade with. Trade is a living exchange, not a dead one. We're not changing the lowercase and uppercase of our name or none of that, right? In fact, maybe our names don't even have to be involved, because it's not about being an entity. It's more about what the items that are being traded, right? It's understood that men and women are engaged in trade. We don't have to straw man you or rename you into a dead entity so someone could own your entity and own you, you know, the fake version of you and all of that craziness, right? So we don't want a corporation. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all got to think outside the box. Right now, a lot of our Indians are just thinking, they're thinking, right? I won't deny you that, but you're thinking in the box. You're thinking inside the corporation. You got to think outside the corporation. You're going to be amazed, Indians, because right now, if you dare to use your imagination, baby, it's going to work. I don't know how to explain it, y'all. I don't want to spook you out. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm seeing evidence in my own life that we have the power to, let's just say, speak things into being. But we got to get it in our heart. We got to get it in our head. And then it gets to our heart. You know what I'm saying? We got to want this, y'all. You just say to yourself, what can I create that is not like what I've been in? We cannot use the corporation, y'all. The word itself is gone. Just get it out. It's a lingua franca. We're not dealing with dead things, okay? We're dealing with living Indians, men and women of the land. We don't want to bring death to them, right? We're here to live, right? Okay. So he done preached again, y'all. He keep preaching. Y'all gonna end up calling him Pastor Heru, and I'm not here for that. I ain't gonna be your pastor, nope. Sumerian god Amaru. Now again, Sumeria is younger than Tamary. We don't deal with young gods, right? If you're an old people, you're gonna go to the oldest god you knew, and let's not mess with the new fandangos, okay? Because that's where the priests are trying to get you on board with their bullshit, okay? Amaru, if you look up his characteristics, you will find, we did a video on this character. Yeah. Amaru is a Sumerian, right? I did a video on that, okay? This is a nefarious deity trying its best to come off like it's not. It's a malevolent deity that quote unquote creates through destruction, okay? Or some crap like that. They're trying to give this. The priesthood is working its magic, okay? Mind spells to try to make a nefarious deity as if it's something that protects us. Well, we wouldn't need protection if your ass wasn't here, right? Right, priesthood? Amaru is you. That represents you, a dragon, yo. Eating up the people. Okay. In ancient Tamary, the nearest thing to Amaru we had was called Apep. And you need to look up Apep. You will be clear that there are no, shall we say, friendly dragons available in ancient Tamary. Nope. Sorry, dragon people. Sorry, but that's what the Moors gave you. They revamp them for the people that are byproducts of the Moors. They can give them that deity, and it won't be as bad as if we buy into that crap. I'm sorry, I don't mean to call people's stuff icons crap, but I'm just saying, if you trace them back to ancient times, you will find their true identity. And the priesthood, because they create these deities, they feel like, well, we can bend them and mold them from time to time. No, you can't, because you know what it was from the beginning, priesthood. You know what our people saw about it. You know how they were seen back then. So for you to take a malevolent deity and use him as the deity that people should think of as a protector and all of that, that's on you, priesthood. Like a lot is on you, priesthood. I would hate to be you right now. I'm anything but you. You know? Yeah. Again, it's a worthy field. It's a worthy occupation if what we call it, we could, in this case we could call it human. Animalistic greed doesn't set in. You know what I'm saying? Like that you start to you fear for your future. That's understandable. Well, just provide a better service and you'll never have to fear for your future. Do what people find, lead the people in the right way, and you'll be surprised how much you've seen it, haven't you? You've seen how people how religified we are, and many of us still are. So all you would have to do is just lead us the right way. But you don't do that, do you, priesthood? You don't do that. And it's high time people realize that. Was it Dane? And Dane, sorry, I'm always using your name because, brother, sometimes you're just on the money sometimes. And I have to say that last Martin Luther King video, it had my mind was exploding with new revelation, and this is why I'm speaking him up. When you have now, see, if a priest could do something like that, well, then you never have to fear that you're going to run out of money. So you become a fucking whole thief. So to make sure you sustain yourself. Meanwhile, people are being removed from their land and cut off from their ancestors. And you priests think you're doing something good? Well, you're the priest of Set. What the heck am I thinking? The priest of Set would do this, y'all. Set was a murderer. He murdered his brother. And so anyway, Set and Amaru, Dr. Tracy linked them together. And I'm going to give her, Dr. Tracy, I hope you don't mind me mentioning you as well. Dr. Tracy was able to make connections between Amaru and Set I didn't see before. And you know what? It makes sense to me. I thought it was like Set was like the mean pet owner of APEP, the mean like some owner that has a mean ferocious dog, but the owner is also like a mean ferocious dog themselves. And they like when the dog assaults you or threatens you. They don't really try to call him off. That's what I thought of Set. He was like an angry dog owner with an even angrier dog called APEP. Set and APEP. Okay. In the I'll say this and I'll try to move on. In the mythology of ancient Tamary, it is said that Set is actually with the Most High, called Ra, riding on his boat and keeping APEP away. So it's like it gave me angry dog owner of angry dog who knows how to tame angry dog. And even the Most High God Ra says, "You deal with that motherfucker. I don't want to deal with that crazy ass dog of yours." So Set is like, "All right, I got it. I got you. But that's what I thought. I thought Set was like the dog owner of APEP, the dragon. But if I'm recalling Dr. Tracy correctly, and pardon me if I'm not, I do apologize. But I'm pretty sure I saw in one of Dr. Tracy's videos the connection between APEP and Set. And again, I like dog, like master. Either you do become one, and you do become like joined at the hip, as most pet owners know, right? So it's to me, I can deal. I could accept that. I could rock with that. Set and APEP the same entity. It makes sense. They still linked regardless, So anyway, the Sumerian god Amaru is actually the origin to words like Amaru, Ameru, Ameri, no, which are root words to America, no. America was Tamary, and if anything, the priests just took part of Tamary and created these entities so they could later say that, oh yeah, you see, this nefarious entity is the one we named America after. Why would we name America after a fucking nefarious dragon? Why? Why would we do that to ourselves? Tamary. It's Tamary. Okay, that's the oldest name that I know. Until I learn different, that's what I'm going to say. Okay, because we have a lot. It's coming out, but it's coming out weird. Like someone will say Tamary Khan or something like that, trying to link us to Genghis Khan, or just anything. But it looks like Tamary is becoming undeniable. Now I say that also because I remember way back when people like Dr. Ben Joseph Yochanan, or I think that's his name, people like him would use the word Tamary, right? And back then I was really I had no clue. But that's why I'm seeing Tamary is making the most sense, because I heard it before. But of course, they're trying to say it was Africa. But Tamary matches more with Ameri than it does with Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get America from Tamaric or Tamary. You can get America from that, but you can't get Africa from that. So it doesn't. When Dr. Ben said it, I never heard it before. But what I'm trying to say is I've heard this for years. I've known for of Dr. Ben. I'd say way before the awakening. But that's when when the big narrative was that we're from out of Africa. So people like Dr. Ben were very popular, but people like him was the one that would throw in the word Tamari. And now it makes sense. It was never Africa. I can see that it was America. I see it. And then we have again Horace Butler. Now he's telling us that was the name of America, Tamari. Now that's when I really start to embrace it. It's something that has been hidden. It's kind of, it's a little hard to really change your mindset, but you feel it. Like, it just feels like the truth. And I can't explain it, but I can say I've heard the word for years. That's why I'm comfortable with the word. But now I know the application of the word, is what I'm trying to say. That's why, in other words, it's not hard for me to see America as Tamari, because I've heard it related to Egypt before. But the thing is, you got to put Egypt on the right continent, right? So now Tamari makes sense to me. This is what I'm trying to say. Okay. So America is actually a corruption of Amen Ra Ka. No. Amen. I'm going to propose Amen is not as old as Ra. Amen is the corruption of Ra. Ra did not come from Amen. Amen came after Ra. Okay? So we wouldn't have called it Amen, because we didn't have any Aten. We didn't have Amen. No. And now, when I look at that word now and I see the word men in it, I really think it's the priesthood deifying their entire priesthood, all the men of the priesthood. Men, the priest. See, they're calling themselves men, but we get called people, persons, blacks, whites. So I believe Amen is roughly a way of referring to the priest. The other thing it relates to is min, M-I-N. And if you Google men, like I asked you, you'll see why men would want to align themselves with min, M-I-N. This would be like a very virile deity. So anyway, men, amen. So it's almost like the priests are making themselves sort of like the representation of men or manhood, but they're reducing us to what? What's the word that they have in the legal system that makes you a juvenile? Like you're not an adult. So they've made themselves the men, and they've made us like incapable of handling our affairs. Parentis or something, like, I forgot the word that they use, that basically suggests that the masses of quote unquote people are basically incapable of handling their affairs. Also, when God created, man or whatever, it's almost like the priests are talking about themselves, not us now. They are the gift of God, right? The men of God, the priests. right? Because they're the ones like they're like the Jesus, the middlemen between we heathen and God, the Most High. We need the Amen. I'm just saying that word Amen. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's an interesting word, but I can promise you that Ra did not have Amen as part of his title or his name. It's strange how everything comes from the Egypt of the West. Well, I'm glad you're saying it's coming from America, because that's the truth. That's the one thing you said that really, it's like you got a full thumbs up on that. And not in an arrogant way, because it's like they want us to believe that everything comes from Africa, but it's a lie. Here they're telling us the truth. It comes from America. It's not because America is special. It's because America is the oldest. That's all. See, we must keep it 100. Keep it legit. When it's not bragging rights, it's firstborn. That's all it is. Everything has a firstborn. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that you never displace a firstborn. You don't do it because it's not right. You can't make a firstborn not firstborn in life or in anything. He's always going to be the firstborn. And if you come up with some idea that, I found a way that I can eradicate the firstborn, all you're doing is you're committing something that would be unjust, because that's always going to be their position. You cannot make your mother not your mother, and you cannot make her firstborn not her firstborn. No matter what you cook up in your priesthood, priest, because you're the one who are trying to do this, truth be told. You're the one that has a problem with America being firstborn. Why? Because you got kicked the fuck out. You would think something like a expelling wouldn't be such a big deal. It is a huge deal to a priesthood. We pissed off those who think they are the man of God, and he became a whole demon, yo. We pissed them off. How we kicked them out? Yeah, we sure did. And we do it again if we knew who the fuck they really were. And that's why they can't stand your Indian ass. They know we do it again without all their spells and their demonology. Isn't that what King James studied, demonology, before he wrote his Bible? I guess he had to learn a few things before he wrote that book. Before he put his hands on that book, edited, whatever he did, his hands was on it. Fresh after studying demonology. It's strange how everything comes out of Egypt of the West. No, it's not. To a priesthood that can't stand that fact, maybe. They've done everything to make us secondary, haven't they? Oops, 48 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna bump up this game. I don't want y'all. There's no reason why I should be doing this much talking. I didn't even get to the part that I really want to talk about yet. Sorry, I just want to sort of make a short version of the video that was 5 hours long by how am I doing that though? Yeah, because I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm going right, not today. We're gonna start with the first major problem that we missed with the last reading of this article. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so America is the old Egypt. He says, read my post on Facebook years ago that proves that Egypt was in the Americas, because the god Ptah, a pre-dynastic day. See, the priests would know about this, but the people might not. You see, so that's why they claim it to be the oldest thing. They just have the oldest of our history. They keep that. That was their job basically, to know our deities and to, so They would know this. It makes sense. So the Atlantean, I'm not going with Atlantis. I'm not going with Atlantis. I don't know of any Egyptian writings. I've never heard any of the scholars on Egypt talk about Atlantis. You hear that? You're hearing that from the Greeks or the Creek. Are we supposed to call you Creeks? Are really the Greeks? Is that what it is? You were the first to get the knowledge from the ancient priests, Creeks. You were the first to be fooled, huh? Okay. All right. That was the order, y'all. The Egypt taught the Creeks. Hmm. Hmm. That's the common what they teaching and what they've always taught that. But now that we learn what tribe of Indians were the Creeks, that's what I hear Indians say, that Greeks are really the Creeks. And you know what they say about what they practice, right? Uh, I'm not judging. I'm just restating what the Creeks practice. Um, they called it pederasty. Yeah. So you just got to do the math, y'all. I'm just trying to make the math. Uh, so yes, Judah is from the Americas because his territory was Utah, Judah territory, which covered Mexico and several states. Hmm. Okay. Because I'm trying to think that, how early on did the priest started changing the narrative to a dragon? I believe they turned Apep into, tried to make him a benevolent deity. So that's maybe why we had Quetzalcoatl, and that would be definitely why. Kukulkan, and uh, you know, and Kukulkan sounds a lot like what we would know as the KKK, right? It's just something it passed in my mental Rolodex, and I realized, yeah, wouldn't that represent a nefarious type of deity for people of Indian heritage? So it's like they're directly named after Kukulkan Khan, KKK, So that they're representing one of our nefarious deities, Apep. That makes sense, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Utah, Nevada. Okay, so we talked about that. They kind of being desert-like states where Set is known to be the god of the desert. So when these deserty states like Nevada, Arizona, Texas, I'm thinking desert. So I think Set was the god of those territories. Ta would have been, if the more ancient you go, you're gonna go down to South America. So Ta would have been a South American deity, from what I know. He would not have been a North American deity, from what I know. Now, Set may have been part of America, may have been Set territory, but if you're going with the oldest of our landmass, it's really South America that I know to be the oldest. So Ta would have originated there. See, this is where the priests are trying to, I think they're changing up stuff. Okay. Chief god of Luxor, Memphis, Tennessee, they're saying. I don't know about that. Tennessee. Oh boy, I never made that connection before. put A in front of Tennessee, Aten. Isn't that the deity that Akhenaten created? Aten, Tennessee. Let me get my freaking etymology on. I see a lot of people working their etymology, and yeah, it's kind of cool, I think. But I never heard that before. But I'm looking at it now, and it's like, Tennessee? Is that what we're talking? Aten? You know, could be. So now we're going to get really into the gist of this. So it's about an hour. I'm sorry that, you know, a lot of videos, they wait a while for people. I don't know, but we're not live, so that wouldn't work here. That wouldn't be my excuse for waiting so long to get to the point. But let's see. So please open your mind, open your ears, because we got a little bit of unpacking to do. And this is just, we're gonna end it after this. I don't want to do the whole article. But this is again what I found that stuck out for me. We're gonna see. Okay. So, well, Egypt was once the capital of the world. In fact, it still is. America is still. That's why, you know, we are right now being bombarded with immigrants. The priests like fresh meat. Okay. They've taken our homeland and they're basically using it, like storefronting it, tempting people or baiting people with the idea of freedom, but they come here and they become whole slaves. Okay. That's how the priests want to use our homeland, and they don't want us here. First of all, we're the lowest of the slaves, right? We know that. Black is the bottom of the caste system, right? So the priests of ancient Tamary know who we are, right? So they have made us the least on our own land. Okay. So anyway, Egypt was once the capital. It still is. Tamary, America, is still the capital. In fact, the Pharaoh gave the ancient Moabites, Moors from Moab, Utah, the permission to settle Morocco, Indiana, India. Okay. So if this was your homeland, why did you need permission from the Pharaoh? That's a question we ask. The story is a little too discombobulated to even answer that question, but it is a question somewhere in there. If you were indigenous, why did you need permission to settle in any part of America? If this was your whole entire, you know, all belong to the Moors, right? Okay, then why did you need permission, Moors? Moors don't need permission, right? Well, I want to break it down a little bit. What they're saying is, whoever, we might not have used that word Pharaoh, but Tamary took precedence over anything that was known as a Moor. They had to get, in other words, it should have been the Pharaoh coming to the Moor asking for permission, right? If they were the first, the Alpha, the Omega, and all of that. They were not the first. And they're telling us this right here, and they don't even know it. So Tamary had to give the Moabites permission. If that means the land belongs to Tamary, right? But wait a minute now. If you on Pharaoh land, it's not your land. You got to get permission. It's his land, right? Ancient Tamary is his. So that means your empires did not come before. And Tamary is not yours. You had to get permission. Who did Tamary belong to? Well, if the Indians ever wake all the way up, if the Indians ever wake all the way up, if the Indians ever wake all the way up, the ones called Indians were really Tamarians, but they don't want to hear that right now. They're not ready for that, right? They're not ready for that. This is telling you who the land belonged to, Indians. It didn't belong to Moors. They had to get permission. They had to get permission. What lie are they going to spin now? Wait for it. You know it's coming. I'm so tired of this entity on the land, y'all. I'm so tired of it. But to get it off, it has to begin in your heart. I do believe the ancestors will do the rest. That's why we're such a threat. You think it's just us that they fear? You don't think it's what's in our blood, the ancestors connected to our blood? You don't think that when we call out the ancestors, ain't gonna work? It's not even work for them. It's called karma. It's called payday. It's called retribution. The reason why they would like us to be gone, we have that one straight line to the ancestors that were cheated, and they're not happy. They're not happy. Neither are we. Neither are we. So just get rid of all of them, the priests say. We don't have to ever deal with it. So how could I guess they have some kind of afterlife spell, but let me tell you, something on earth has to happen first. I think something on earth has to happen to stir up. I don't know why, but yeah. In other words, we have to do something here that's going to activate our ancestors. I think we got to call on them. I think we have to call on them from the depths of our heart. Let them know, they're still after you through us. Okay, so now I'm serious. Okay, only 1 minute after the hour right now. So let me get right to this. They say avoid the hijack, because when you Google Morocco, Indiana, it will tell you that it was founded in 1851. Take note of that, people, because it's going to be very important when we read the next paragraph. So when was Morocco founded in the Americas, y'all? 1851. Can you please remember that? It won't be too long. 1851, right? The only problem is that the Morocco that is in North Africa wasn't founded until 1956. Okay, so I skipped that line. I know I did that on purpose. I want to stress that he's talking about Morocco in Indiana in 1851. Okay, so the Morocco in America was founded in 1851. What was before 1851? No Morocco, right? No Morocco. It was founded in the year 1851. Okay. So he says he go with Morocco that is in the old world, America, even though 1851 is hardly old, right? Let's just jump, y'all. I'm going to jump. We're not going to read that. 1851. So let's look at the next sentence. The last, stay with me, y'all. The last of the Al-Moroccan government fell in 1956. Okay. With the abolishment of the consular court, when quote unquote Black people accepted civil rights. Okay, so what made the Al-Moroccan government fall was not a war. It dawned on me today, y'all. I'm a little slow. So it wasn't a war that made your government fall in 1956. It was us, the Black. You're blaming that on us, not white people, right? Stay with me, people. Stay with me. Stay with me. This is just the cat's meow right now. So who are the Moors blaming for the fall of their government, Black people? Who? Baby. Who are the Moors blaming for the fall of their government in 1956? That's your fault, my nigga. Your fault. Your Moors that you love and you want to be, I got to be one, want to be one, will be one. He blaming your nigga ass for the fall of his government, yo. he's saying that's our fault. It wasn't a war in 1956, right? The government fell with the abolishment of the consular court when Black people, now we was having the worst time ever, right, y'all? We got this nigga saying them not being there for us is our fault. We were just trying to get a little something like a leg up in this piece. We was going down as fast as the Titanic, and we thought civil rights was everything, right? We didn't have no more telling us it wasn't back then, did we? Y'all gonna learn today? Y'all gonna learn something about these Moors that you love so much, and these Washitars and stuff. The ones that keep saying they indigenous to America through marriage with the French. King Louis. So the last of the Al-Moroccan government fell in 1956 with the abolishment of the consular court when Black people accepted civil rights over their natural rights. I noticed that they don't use, no, is it this document? I don't think the word birthright is in this document, but we'll do a word search. I could be wrong. I might be wrong. I know it's not in UNDRIP because that's what I look for it there. Not in UNDRIP. Not in UNDRIP. It's all about your birthright, Indian. So anyone representing you better be talking that. But you know what? Ain't nobody better be representing you but you. Ain't nobody better be representing you but you. Your representative is going to be looking for a cut. Get rid of all middlemen. Expeditiously. So that's our fault, y'all, that the Moroccan government fell in America. They couldn't fight for us no more when we got civil rights, y'all. Now I guess they don't know what we was going through before we got them civil rights. Like I said, where were you? They're going to pretend that they don't know what's going on. They know everything, right? But they don't know that what we was going through and what made us think that civil rights was the way out. They take no blame for that. Nope, not one whatsoever. But they will blame us for the fall of their government. Oh my God, no, not your government. But you're like the greatest thing. You're like you have the Morocco Empire, you got the Roman Empire, you got the Genghis Khan, you got the Mansa Musa, you got the Z people, this XI people, C, is that how you say it? C people. Okay. But look what happened in America. We little Indians took your overinflated ass down just by getting civil rights. That's how you get taken down. You don't fight for law of the land. You just lay down like you did in Spain and say, oh, such a bad boy again. It'd be such a bad boy. But see, now this time it's not the Caucasian sons, it's us. And how we took them down, we didn't have to do what they mulatto sons did that they call white. We just accept civil rights and poof, their government fell like a ton of bricks. Wow. Did any of you know this is what you did to these poor ass Moors? Y'all know what you did? Maybe they still mad at you. Maybe that's why they got you going to jail claiming to be a sovereign citizen, which is not anything like a sovereign. Maybe they still mad at you for their government falling, y'all, and you think they're your friend. Nah, they never was your friend, these priests. These priestesses was never your friend, okay? Okay. But it don't end there, because we got to figure some shit out, right? We got to figure some shit out right now. What's going on here, yo? So first, maybe we want to, Willie, I don't want to darken it. Yes, okay, 1850. Okay. So they fell in 1956, y'all. their court fell, they fell, all because we accepted civil rights over our, what they should have said is our birthright. I don't know what natural right means. I don't know. I know what birthright means. But they take a word and God knows what the hell happens to it when they take it. Here is a definition of a consular court. Okay. Okay. Wait. Where's the definition? Oh yeah, a tribunal, uh, tribunal convened by public officials. Public officials. If you're Indian, wouldn't it be convened by more like private? Wouldn't you be like in the private sort of sector? So their court, a consular court, is convened by public officials. Y'all represent the Indians and everybody in the public too? Okay, I'm a little confused by that, but okay. Who reside in a foreign country. So your tribunal is in America, right? That's why you're saying you fell when we took civil rights, okay? So you're saying that your court is in a foreign, so America's a foreign country to you? You finally got it right. My God, they finally figured it out, y'all. But we would never, the way they're writing it here, I didn't even check. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about when I first did this video. It's just like this is what they do, y'all. They confuse you. They tell you something and you still won't know what they just told you because they, you know, it's just something about being a priest that uses words as spells. So so this is what their court, their government fell with their court, and their court was convened by public officials who reside in a foreign country. It sounded like America is foreign to them, okay? To protect the interests. So they were here to protect us, right? But then we took civil rights and they said, pack it up, guys. Pack it up. We got to go back to Morocco. But it's not going to make sense in a minute, y'all. It's not going to make sense in a minute. Okay. I just want to make sure. Y'all might have saw it already. Stop jumping ahead of me now. Come on now. Let me get this. Let me get this one. Did y'all see it already? Did y'all see it? Okay. And we're gonna close after this. I don't want this to be a long ass video because I really want we gotta understand that Moors are not our people. Even if they look like us, okay? They might be old negative, they might come from an old negative stock and of priest, okay? That we broke down sort of what blood is doing, with the O negative, O positive, O positive is okay with O negative, but O negative is not okay with O positive. Them two black people, y'all. Two black people. Oldest blood type. Two black people. Okay. That don't get along forever, ever, okay? O negative can't stand O positive, okay? And I think the Moors represent that blood, yo. I'm just gonna say it like I feel it. I think and if they don't, they have to indoctrinate you as an O positive, and then you'll become, once you're so indoctrinated, you might as well be O negative, okay? O negative fights O positive. O positive never fights O negative. The Indians never fought when these people came. They weren't trying to, they welcomed them, right? Right. That's O positive behavior, okay? These niggers pretended to be our friends. These, and they had other plans because they come from a royal bunch. They were the subjects of royals who had the royals puppeted them, is what I really believe happened. But then they fell for the narrative. See, don't take their narrative, and it'll help you a lot. Stop thinking that you're them, and then you'll begin to see what they are. You won't want to see it when you join them. Okay, you gotta stand back and read what they're saying, like what we're reading now. Okay, similar to this. Okay, So they their court, their consular court, this is the Morocco, Moorish court, okay? Moorish court is a tribunal convened by public officials, okay, who reside in a foreign country. Are they saying that they think because they're here residing that they are you, Indians? Is that where they're getting it confused? So they're here to protect the interests of their country. So we were not in Morocco as Indians, right? So I would have to presume that they are here from Morocco to protect our interests in the foreign country. They're calling it a foreign country. They're calling our homeland a foreign country, but they have to sometimes when they're not, you know, the lie, that's the way the lie works. At certain times, we all have to be from Morocco, and at certain times, we all have to be, or some of us have to be from here. Okay? Apparently. I know it's confusing. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. My brain don't know how to compute all these lies that much either, y'all. I'm trying. I don't know if I can do it. I might not succeed. I don't know. But a tribunal convened by public officials, so the Moors are calling themselves public officials, for the public. That don't got nothing to do with your Indian ass, okay? When they representing the public, that could be anybody, okay? But that they would do that because they're calling dominion. Again, everybody except American Indians are basically seen by Moors as byproducts of themselves. They're calling rank on you through creation rights over all people except American Indians, which they can't. We are just as old as Moors. We're actually older, okay? Because their doctrine is coming after ours, okay? So their doctrine is old, not old. I'm sorry. Let me say it right. Their doctrine is younger than ours, okay? It's a doctrine. It's an indoctrination you're working with, more than a bloodline, okay? But the blood, I believe, has taken on the spirituality of these folks. Unless they let their scientists tell us what they did to create O negative blood. That maybe they can do that. I won't spook it out if you tell it, if you explain what you did. We won't have to spook it out, okay? Okay. So we didn't get there yet, but we are almost there. So a tribunal convened by public officials. I thought y'all was like just for us though, for people of color. But it's for the public, okay? Who's the public though? For the foreigners? Oh, okay. Who reside in a foreign country. That's they talking about us, y'all. To protect the interests of their country. Now I don't know which country they're talking about when they say that, but they saying they're here to protect our interests because that's why they fell apart when we took civil rights. They couldn't protect us no more because they trying to come off like they were protecting our birthright. But how can you when you're not from this landmass? Where are you from? Priest. Nibiru? Atlantis? Mu? Pangea? Are you from the bottom of the ocean, perhaps? Hmm? And why do we ask that? Because they're here to protect the interests of their country, right? For the settlement of civil cases. Now, we took civil rights and they do civil cases, but when we took those civil rights, they couldn't do civil cases no more. Did you catch that, y'all? They're here to settle civil cases, but they got mad when we took civil rights. Now, conceivably, we didn't have civil cases, right, y'all? Because we just got the civil rights, right? Oh, y'all, I didn't even see this one, y'all. What I'm telling you right now, I didn't even peek that until doing this video, okay? So explain, Moors. You take civil cases, but when we took civil rights, you was out. So then that means mission accomplished? Is that what you're telling us? We got them to take civil rights, and now we can go and watch them slide down this banana peel? Huh? You were all too willing, Moors. Washita is what you are, priest. That's what you call yourself. You done hijacked a whole tribe for yourself. Now these people gotta claim your history. Explain this to me. You are public officials who reside in a foreign country to protect our nigga ass and the interests of your country. Which one? Which one though? Morocco or America? Well, I don't know. For the settlement of civil cases. But when we get civil rights, you out. But you take civil cases, right? Why couldn't you stay? Why did you get abolished? Just because we took civil rights? Didn't you want us to? Of course they wanted us to, yo. Of course they wanted us to. Of course they wanted us to take civil rights, yo. Based upon situations that happen in the foreign nation. So the situations that we would be involved happened in America. We wasn't in Morocco, right? I couldn't figure out when I first read this because I couldn't figure out. Well, are they saying they was doing this in Morocco? But then I realized, wait a minute, they're calling America foreign to them because they're saying they're from Morocco. But we were always here, right? We didn't come from Morocco, right? They did. Okay. And which is held pursuant. Okay. They are here for the settlement of civil cases upon situations that happen in the foreign nation. Here in America, I guess is the foreign nation, because we wasn't in Morocco, right? They was here for us, right? I got you. I got you, my brother. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the problem, though. You got me again with your bullshit, right? And which is held pursuant to authority granted by treaty. The 1787 Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. The what? 1787 Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. You just told me that the oldest Morocco was founded in 1856, my brother. Wait, let's we're gonna do this. We might change this one. Wait. My brother. What are you in a time warp of some sort? A time warp of some sort. Yeah, we just want to focus on 1857 right now. Okay. Morocco. It was founded in 1857. Based on the Morocco. So they say, so Morocco, Indiana was founded in 1857. How do you have a treaty with Morocco before it was founded? Can we hear a mic drop somewhere, please, for the fuckery? Here we go, Blue. Can you explain to me how you can have a Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship when there was no Morocco on the fucking planet? The treaty was in 1787. Morocco is what, a decade later? Over a decade later? Or what? You know, y'all know I ain't great with math, right? But this math sure ain't mathing, Taraji. I almost call her Tariq. What the hell? Y'all, could y'all explain? What am I missing here? Where was Morocco? Could somebody tell me what the fuck Morocco was? It had to be a fucking corporation. There was no Morocco on the fucking earth, y'all. The Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship that this tribunal was called for or under was in 1787. That's when we had the Constitution, the first Constitution. But Morocco, not the one in Africa, that one came even later in 1956. How do you have a treaty here in 1787 when the first Morocco in Indiana was founded in 1851? You have to have a Morocco before you can have a Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I thought, am I missing something? Y'all, if y'all don't get your ass out of Moorish confusion, I don't know if you'll be ready for the rest of the awakening. The rest of the awakening is us getting our land back. But the Washita and the Creek, Seminole, the Cherokee, Chickasaw, y'all got some splaining to do. Some Spaining. Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, because they did. Wait. They're from France. They're French involved, but somehow they were in Spanish had their territory, or they got Spanish. I forgot. Spain is in there somewhere. They got Spanish territory. That's all I'm saying. Somehow I recall reading something about Spain. I the only the only thing that would make this make sense, I think, is if Morocco is a dead entity called a corporation. And if they're a corporation, then the Moors don't have a landmass. Do we need to say that again? I don't know why so many of our people, like, I can't be the first one to have caught this. I know I'm not. So either the Moors are intentionally misleading everyone, or they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they just, it's the skeletons be coming out every time they open their mouth. And again, don't you dare try to somehow call me out for what, I don't know what. I'm just reading what you said about what you're explaining to us about your organization. I think y'all gonna have to ask the author of this article to stop talking. Your mouth is moving, but mm, mm, mm. That's what blew me away when I finally, you know, went in, you know. That's not all I want to talk about though, but that was so profound for me as I was going into this. The thing that I wanted to say, and now we're going to make it a little, we're almost at 2 hours. We'll try to make it short. But I was going to propose to you today that the problem in America, our problem is the design of our government, let alone those who fill those seats and all of that. But the whole entity, let's not talk about the seats because it's about the house that it's in. uh, and so let me read further because I'm going to propose to you and you might not like the proposal, okay? But I'm saying that we were doomed from the inception of this two-system government. Why? Because it should have been a one-system government. When we read this, you will understand why we were doomed from the start and we missed the mark. We should have known we wouldn't go. We're house divided, okay? And I'm going to jump ahead and say we're house divided because we're trying to make home ownership be for two different people, the people of the land and foreigners. You got two different people living in one house. One of them, it's not their house, but we're going like overboard as a government to make it a two-family house. It wasn't built to be a two-family house. Truth is, no nation was built that way. When China built their government, they didn't say, we're going to build a government for Chinese and one for everybody else. No, they built a government for Chinese. And then when you decide you want to live in China, you go by their house rules. Let's get into it. A consular court exercises criminal jurisdiction in some instances, but its determinations are reviewable by the courts of the home government. I guess that's Morocco. The last of the U.S. consular courts of Morocco was abolished in 1956 when we chose civil rights, although they have a civil court. The 1787 Morocco Treaty that existed when there was no Morocco, magically. The 1787 Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. How can you have a treaty when you don't even have a Morocco? Okay. Was a means to try to stop all of the fighting over the land, the fighting over the land. So the Moors brought the Europeans to the table to form a peaceful what? Baby, when I tell you, that was a wrong move, Moors. That was a wrong move. Moors, your slip is showing again. Your true colors are showing, Moors. You think that I am you and you are me? Think again. Think again. Would I talk like this if I was you? No, I wouldn't. I'd be on the video with a freaking fez on, just singing your praises, wouldn't I? Moors, if this is your land, it's not, but I'm just being silly again. Why do you feel that it is your job to form a two-system government for foreigners? One for the Moors, oh, wait a minute, and one for the, oh, wait. Indians, you're not even part of this if you really peep game. They came to our country from Morocco. That didn't exist. It's an indoctrination, y'all. It's a mindset. It's an ideal. It's not real. The corporations are not real. And those who are corporate minded or corporate leaning, they tend to slip in and out of real life, shall we say. They kind of live in the further, the sunken place. Yeah. The further was in Insidious. The sunken place is in Get Out. That's where the Moors seem to live. So the 1787 Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship, it sounds like they're talking about our Constitution, y'all. That somehow Morocco is on this treaty, but Morocco, again, where was Morocco? In the windmills of your Moroccan mind. Oh, y'all just you when they say get out in that movie, you got to get out. You got to get out. This Indians, we can't fix this. We can't fix this. It was broken at inception. It was built broke. Broken was that was it. Built. They want to stop all the fighting. Why were we fighting though? You dumped foreigners here that didn't belong here, and then you were fighting who? The Indians, right? Shortly after, because it was about taking stuff from us, like it always is, and transferring it to you, the ones who were expelled, to your nigga ass, because you look like us. And you're the one who wanted the Europeans here. Why do you want the Europeans here, Moors? I'm going to go ahead and say Caucasian Europeans. They need them here to be the face of the operation, like I always say, while there are Indians on this land. But I do believe this, y'all, and I don't know how y'all feel about me saying this, and I don't mean to offend Caucasians, but I think if there were no Indians here, I think Caucasians would be the slaves. I think they would be the black status, because then the Moors would have free reign. They wouldn't have to, they won't need a middleman to be a buffer between them and us. So I think if Indians were to ever be genocided, I don't think the Caucasian would be needed the same way. I think it would revert back to what it was in Spain before the Caucasians had enough. And I think the Moors let them get over because the Moors were trying to get over here. I think they let themselves be defeated so they can have an excuse to come over here. Look, the Moors is trying to get back in America, y'all. Everybody else is just a player in this sick, twisted game of basically the Wizard of Oz, the Moors trying to get back home. But this is not their home any longer. It's the oldest landmass for people of color, shall we say. But once you have an element that had to get expelled, they are no longer I don't know how to explain it to y'all. I think we'd have to live in those times of when expelling was a thing to understand the depth, the gravity, the gravity of being of an expulsion. It's like being banished. So this is what is lying deep in the heart of the Moor. How do you get home, but then have to deal with a home that's not yours anymore, but then have to deal with the people that kick your ass out, that you see behind all the niceties as your enemy? Well, you got to say that you are them and they are you. That's how you do it. You impress them with what you did overseas, but when you come here, it's like you can't do it like you did it overseas. when you were the big dog. Because out there, you're the big dog. At home, you just another nigga. And niggas ain't happen. So that's I'm not gonna make this a long video. I promise you I'm gonna end this at we got 140. This is gonna be a 2-hour video, I'm determined. Because I already touched on what I needed to. And what I want to say in this video, besides what we looked at just now about the missing Morocco. Let's read it again. So the Moors brought the Europeans to the table to form a peaceful two-system government, one for the Moors and one for the Europeans. Evidence of this two-system government can be found on the back of the $1 bill. Notice the two seals, which suggest two governments. The seal of the Great Pyramid with an eye above it is the Moorish seal. The other seal with the bald eagle holding 13 arrows is the seal for the European. Another example of this two-system government is the Council of Court itself, which was the Moorish court system. The last one, he repeated this 3 times. The last one was abolished in 1956, according to the above definition. And this consular court was granted its authority by treaty. That is the 1787 Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship. The Europeans had and still do have their court system, but it's just their court system now. Well, at first, when I read that, I thought, yeah, there you go, being Moors again. But the truth is, it was always supposed to be theirs and the Moors, but not the Indian. But I'm going to go a step further, y'all. I know this is evolutionary. Indians have some serious questions, and you don't get mad at the messenger. But you Indians have to decide what makes America so special that it has a government that was designed for two different people to live here as if both of them are from here. Do you hear what I'm saying? Where on this green earth do any governments formulate that way? Please Google it for me and tell me what you find, because what I think we're going to find is that it started here. It did not exist. If we have any, they're trying to model themselves after America. But if there's something wrong with the mold itself, then we're going to have problems, y'all. But I'm telling you, from what I know, is Britain designed for Brits, and is their government designed? You hear how the government was, the Moors did this, y'all. That's what they just said. And the Washita and the 5 civilized tribes, I guess you are by default part of this. But again, I'm going to say, if you're driven by priests, then now we know why y'all got driven to hell. When is the madness going to end, Indians? I think, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to speak truth to power. America needs to have its own government like every other place on this earth, not a government for a two-system government. if a house divided will not stand. But you know what? The priest will force it to stand, which means it's going to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. Like we see now. It's always going to be this way, y'all, because that's how this government was designed. So when you take on foreigners by your government is designed, that means the default, you gotta take care of these people. If you're taking responsibility for them, then they're all your responsibility entirely. They come here, just drop their luggage, and then it's all you, boo. And who's the you? Congress. The whole system, but namely Congress. Indians. Up to now, all of us are trying to figure out what kind of government we need here. Some of us want to stay with this government that was designed at its inception, not by us, but by Moors. That's what they just told us. The Moors brought the Europeans to the table to form a peaceful two-system government, one for Moors and one for Europeans. I think one day India's going to say, could y'all please, like we said in the last video, when are y'all going home? It's 11:30. I got to go to bed. And I know it's cold out there, but you got to go home. I don't know where you're going to go, but your ass got to get up out here. Go home, y'all. Moors, go home to your vanishing, reappearing, fictitious Morocco. Go home. Europeans, it's not that we're telling you to go home because this is not your mess. But we're saying for this world to be right, all of us have to tend to our own homes. Again, to be honest with you, the Europeans would be the last that I would really ever even say this to, because I feel like it's the Moors that brought them here. They're the problem because they're masquerading as us, and they're taking liberties that whatever or authorities that don't belong to even them. They are the problem, y'all. And when Indians get real, they will understand, oh, yes, there's a big difference between American Indians and Moors. Somebody got to stand up for this homeland or his home and her homeland. Moors can't do it, y'all. They're incapable. They don't know what a fucking homeland is because they got kicked out. See, what happened was they were bold and bad before they got kicked out. They went out there and realized, you know what? I want to go back. But they can't. First of all, the world they created is a world, some kind of religio, monarchio type of thing where you're dealing with queens and kings and priests, right? They needed servants. The Moors need servants. They want to set up shop in your house and then have you running around like Florence while they lounging on the chase, talking about feed me some grapes and shit, or get me some more of these tasty fruits from your land, or I mean my land, because they fixing to own it. They are a mindset that became real, but it seems like they can't handle the reality of what their mindset was. And the reality is, you're not part of this continent anymore, priesthood. You got kicked out for a reason. And you know what? At this point, I don't even think, we got 10 minutes. I said two hours. Okay, we got a little more to go. At this point, it doesn't even matter why you got kicked. We know that it has something to do with you really, you got very authoritative with the people, closing down temples, making them worship where they did not want to, introducing gods that looked like Brad Pitt that they were not familiar with. You were forcing us to do that. You were forcing our ancestors to do that. You're no longer worthy of this home. This is not your home. See, Moors have they have a Dorothy complex. They want to go home, but they forgot that they already made their bed in their home. And they got to lie on it. And they got to leave home, the original home, out of this mess. That's the only way everybody's going to be able to really, as long as there's displacement, you're going to have places like America. America is a ball of chaos. I don't care what they try to say about this is where you can come and be all you can be. Only if chaos is involved. Why is chaos necessary? Because you have to constantly deal with the people that are trapped in the basement, like in the movie Us. They were underground people. But they were the real people in our case. So in America, there's always going to be a balancing act until they genocide all of us, which is never going to happen. That I've decided, not me, but I just tapped into the reality that it's always going to be this way until Indians stand up. Fate will not allow you to let this even happen, because it's an injustice to not only the living Indians, but centuries and decades, millennia of Indians. This ground is their body. I told you all that. This ground will be avenged at some point. You can put it off, or you can be active, because the more you put it off, the more attempted genocide you will be dealing with. Okay, so this video wasn't so much, we're talking about the entity that we call Moor or Moorish. Look at their double talk. So let's just finish. No, we did finish reading that, right? The Europeans, so they're saying basically that now the system is just for Europe. But that's exactly what the Moors wanted. But they won't appear till Indians are gone, or they've indoctrinated all of us. Then they and their offspring, mulatto children, they will have succeeded, but they never will. I'm sorry, again, there's more positive in this universe than negative. So that's why negative must constantly try to win the mind. This battle is in your mind, but you have to make up in your mind that I want my land back. I'm the authority. Why do I have what the Moors would say as it's basically the Moors, but like two other entities at the helm of my household? I'm in the base, trapped in the basement. When we going to feed Fido today is the argument we hear upstairs. What benefits and privileges are we going to throw Fido down there? He's still there. He just won't die. So what benefits and privileges can we throw down in the basement to keep this nigga hanging on and with some false hope for his future? Because our future is we don't want him here. We're trying to take over this house. A two-system government, baby, it better become a one-system government. And I ain't going, do I have to tell you who needs to be at the helm of that government? Y'all, we got employees up in here, and they done took over this land. They have, if this was supposed to be, that again, I can't say that it was even meant to serve Indians. It's like they knew we had a status. They kept quiet about it while we slowly forgot. And then the idea was now we can genocide them. Just let them say, force them once again, always forcing the Indians into shit. closing down our temples in the days of old. Now it's you're gonna lose your job if you don't get a jab. We get forced, y'all. I don't know if any other people get forced the way we do, but we want to entertain this government. Okay. Some of you Indians think we just got to fill the seats, and then that. I'm telling you, the whole thing was built by the Moors. That's what we read. That's what we read. They were fighting on our land, and then we had to get involved. And then now they're talking about they made a government for them too. But they never bothered to tell us that they were going to try to suck us into that government, having us pay taxes on our land and all kinds of other shit that we shouldn't be paid. We were supposed to be the South. We were supposed to be the food production for this. And we were supposed to get paid for that, y'all. They made sure that they crippled us. Y'all got to decide. I said I'm going to make this a 2-hour video, and I mean it. Y'all got to decide. Is a two-system government the best thing for American Indians? We just read who it's for, right? Indians, y'all better wake the fuck up. You need to understand that no, you cannot take what somebody else built and then it becomes yours if you fill the seats. No. It's a franchise, okay? You got to make your own. I don't care what it looks like. It got to be done. It got to be done. We have no choice. You just read who built this government. And it's so funny that they keep talking about Morocco, but in 1787, the only thing that I know that happened was the fucking Constitution. Did they hijack the Constitution? Is the fictitious Morocco Treaty of Peace and Friendship the fucking Constitution? And it would make sense because it led us to this bullshit that we are experiencing up to this day. So I'm going to leave you with that, Indians. It seems like every time I don't, the answers got me saying shit that I know y'all ain't ready for. But I said it, and I'll say it again. Indians, what you're going to do is build your government, and over time, that will be the prevailing government, and we will no longer entertain the idea that we are supposed to play host with the most for the entire world. It is not working. It is not working for you, Indians, for us. It's not working. This system will continue to cater to foreigners because they're getting a payday from them and they're getting votes in their system. This is not our system. Republic, Democrat, it's not ours, y'all. It's not. They just told us, right? The Europeans hadn't still. That's how the Moors designed it. So they got the European the face, while they said they got abolished because we got civil rights. That's like a fucking punch in the fucking face, y'all. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. I'm gonna say thank you for watching. Yeah, I'm gonna stop my share. Do we think that a two-system government is the answer when there's no other government that was designed that way? Why are we, being the one landmass, asked to be the savior of the entire world? You better save yourself first. You better save yourself first. Till next time, be and stay highly favored.